So let's look at this articles. Definite and indefinite. All right. In the English language, we have three articles. All right. There are three articles in the English language: a, and the. But later on they became broken down into two types of articles. All right, in our language, which is a and can be considered as one, which is indefinite, and then you have the definite article. Okay, so in Greek you have two when it comes to the definite article. And so when you start seeing these words, we can't skip over the. Okay, that the, when it's being translated from Hebrew as well as from Greek and into the English language, that the is there for a reason. Okay, that article is it really establishes what the thought of the writer is trying to convey. So we just can't read from now on. We have to stop reading, the like that, and especially when it's dealing with subjects, verbs, and objects. Okay, we have to make sure that we just don't just skim over No, it's very important when we start talking about language and translations from different one particular group of language into another group of language. All right, so let's make sure we do that and understand that when we're reading our Bible. All right, then you have predicate nominatives. Okay, predicate nominatives. All right, also that are embedded, especially in the Greek language. The phrase predicate nominative is a grammar term that describes a noun clause, okay? A noun clause in the predicate of certain sentences. The predicate nominative appears as a group of words following a linking verb, like, to be, to be, or to become. All right, predicate nominatives do not follow action verbs. Predicate nominative do not follow action verbs. All right. In an English example, how we write, when we writing sentences or writing a book or writing something that we want the reader or the person reading to understand, we mostly write in subject, verb, and object. So, for example, if we're watching the football game, okay, let's say for example, I use when Tom Brady played or Michael Jordan. Let's just say Tom Brady. All right. Tom Brady would be the subject. The action is Tom Brady threw a touchdown. The verb was or the action or the object of it is either the sport of football, or generally the object is the football. He threw a touchdown with the football. All right. So in the English, we write that way, but in Greek, it's not limited or structured or limited into the structure of how a predicate nominative can be listed. Okay, the format, but in Greek, it's written. I have a typo there, but in Greek, it is written, or it can be written. Let me say that it can be written in any format. It could be verb, subject, object, verb, subject. It can mean all of that. So when you have those things, when you have a particular writing in the Greek that may be not written as an example in the format of English, how do you determine what the subject is? You determine the subject and what the writer is trying to convey to us by the definite article, okay, which is going to be in English, the, all right, which is the definite, and Greek, indefinite article will be a or an. All right. So everybody got that. We understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. Amen. All right. In John chapter number 1. Okay. In John chapter number 1. I know a couple of y'all quoted this, but we're gonna look at it. In the beginning. Okay. What is the definite article that you see highlighted in this?
The.
All right. So John, the subject is, he wants you to understand that this is a definite article about somebody. All right. So let's look at what it says. In the beginning, before all, and this is the amplified, but the definite article is there. In the beginning, before all time, was the Word. And the Word, there's a definite article, the Word was with God. And the Word, the definite article, was God himself. Okay? So the reason why you have here in verse 1, you don't see a definite article before God because the definite article is already written 3 times in there, and the person or the subject is the beginning. He's using the kind of the phraseology of the way Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2 is kind of painted, when he goes back to time and he's dealing with darkness and he's talking about before time and he's establishing who Yeshua was before time existed, before the world was created, formed. In the beginning, before time, Yeshua was not only with God, okay, he is the Word. He does separate the distinction between who the Father is and who the Son is. But he's also explaining with the definite article that the Word was with the Father in the beginning. The Word was not created, all right, at any time. He was with him existing, all right, with the Father, all right. So you don't see if of course, it wouldn't even grammatically sound correct by saying, and the Word was the God. All right. That wouldn't sound grammatically correct. And also, if you look in the Jehovah's Witness Bible, they place an indefinite article right in verse number 1. And it says, and the Word was a God. Okay. The Word was a God in the Jehovah's Witness Bible. All right. And so we have a lot of people within our community who have, some of them are former Jehovah's Witnesses that have carried this teaching over into the Israelite perspective and understanding, not knowing or haven't learned that every writer that's an Israelite, or even the one that's non-Israelites who may have had some form of writings like Luke, they were monotheistic. They did not believe in modalism. They didn't believe in any form of Jehovah's Witness teaching, Michael the Archangel. They didn't believe, which is Seventh-day Adventist beliefs. They didn't believe in any of that stuff. They didn't have none of that area stuff going on. All right. But it's clearly here in this particular verse what's being written. All right. So we have 2 nominatives in John chapter number 1, in verse 1. So let's look at it. In the beginning was the Word, or the Hoi Logos, which is the Son. Okay. And the Word was with God. Theos, which when you look at Theos, that's talking about God the Father. And the Word was God. Theos, the same thing. So you have the Word being the Logos, but when it comes to his deity, authority, and essence, he has the same authority and the same essence as Theos in the Greek, as God himself. Let's read it one more time and I'll open it up. In the beginning was the Hoi, Word, Logos, or the is Hoi, and Word Logos or Logos, and the Word Logos was with God, Theos, the Father, and the Word was God. The Word Logos was also Theos himself.
I think one thing dealing with this verse that need to be thoroughly explained, like when it says he was with God and he was God, like let's use that term, or let's put that in suspect, like in in the context of like me and you being together, or is it just me and you, the same person, individual? Like, can you like elaborate on that, or do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. So there are 2 distinct persons. but they have the same essence, which means he's the Father, but he's also God. He's the Son, but he's also Theos as well. So I think the title of Theos and what we get caught up in is kind of the area that kind of trips us up, but he's the essence. This is why I always ask people when we start talking about a lot of places in the Old Testament. This is why I always ask me, is that Yahuwah or Yahusha? And this is the reason why I say to people, I said, we've decided that we try to make this difference between who is Yahuwah and who's Yahusha. Well, the person that's talking and doing all the conversation in the Old Testament, the person that created the world, the person that created Adam and breathed theonosis into his, or life into his body, the person that was in the burning bush, the one that was that Moses talking about he wanted to see, but I can't let you see me, the one who appeared with the Hebrew boys, and one that was dangling the line. I mean, we can go on and on and on. The one who appeared before Abraham. It's the Logos who is Theos. And so I think that trying to completely understand it, and it's something that I will have to admit that I don't think we have the totality of the concept of how they function, but I think that we have the understanding of who they are in nature and in essence. I can say that, but how they function, I think that's a mystery. That's hard to really understand and break that thing down when it comes down to that. But essence and nature, that's not hard to figure out. That's all over the scriptures. So, and it makes things even more clear when you really understand when Yeshua makes the statement that no man has ever seen God or talked to him, or no man has ever seen my Father, and no man has ever talked to him or heard his voice. And this is the reason why it even makes more sense for them to say, when he says, he who's seen the Son has also seen the Father, because they are the same essence. They both are Theos. But the difference is Mashiach is also Logos. He's the actual word of the Most High, which I don't think we can even really still grasp that. That's still not attainable to really understand the depths of that.
Testament readings and those appearances of him, and most of the time it says an angel of the Lord, or he sent the angel of the Lord to do this and the angel of the Lord to do that. So, and I think that's where a lot of the misconceptions come too, with people believing that he's Michael the archangel. So, and all them other, a lot of that other stuff too. But I can see how a lot of that stuff got twisted up. But it, like you said, it takes away from him, because it clearly says that, he's greater than the angels which were created. Hallelujah.
So then now we just throw a monkey wrench in there and ask, well, dog, if he's also Theos in Greek, then who is Yahweh in Hebrew? Oh Lord. I don't even think folks don't even want to deal with that.